The entire internet is getting crazy over the Apple event, supposedly in the first or the second week of September. And being an Apple fan, I am too excited about what new products or updates Apple is going to come together in this year. However, I am too late in the game to go ahead and predict. But this video is not all about prediction. This video is my wish list Apple considers to think about when they are launching new products. It's high time that they start considering some of these wish lists. For an avid Apple user, I have 2 MacBooks, 4 iPad Airs, 2 iPhones, Apple Pencil, watch, more importantly, many other things which Apple has. I have bought them. But it's high time that there are a few things which Apple considers to go ahead and change or enhance in their line of products. And there are 2 specific products which I really want to see new innovation coming in, because year over year, the incremental innovation is hardly seen by a common user, whether it's in the chipsets, whether it's these micro changes in the software, which are good. I'm not saying they are bad, but they really do not cut the mark for a user to go ahead and upgrade from one version to another version. In my mind, today, where technology is evolving, it is best to go ahead and do an upgrade on your phones or your machines, whether it's your MacBook or a computer or a tablet, once every 3 years. So once every 3 years is a good time period to see innovation really taking leapfrog. But year over year, transitions are not making sense. But if Apple really wants to capitalize on the next 2 years and make people transition from one piece of device to another, these are the 2 pieces. One is the iPhone and the second is a watch, where I would like to start seeing some more improvement and focus coming in from Apple. The first piece, which is the iPhone. But before we get into the iPhone, a common piece is if Apple can consider making their charging cables or their charging ports standard across, rather than having a Lightning cable, USB-C and Thunderbolt and many more coming together with USB-C. I know there is already a pressure from EU to standardize all charging ports to USB-C. Hopefully this year, Apple considers that and makes that charging port all to USB-C. However, even if they can't do it for all products, they should start implementing it, whether it's your AirPods, whether it's your watch, whether it's your MacBook or iPhones. They need to consider changing their ports and standardizing it to USB-C. It will help the consumers like you and I to really carry one single USB-C cable or 2 to charge all our devices, rather than carrying multiples of them and multiple variants of them to just keep charging our devices. But that said, the big focus is on iPhone, which is a big device which all of us use. We cannot live without. It's become a handy tool or a thing which we cannot forget at our home when we get out of our home. So here are a few things which I feel strongly Apple should consider. The first piece, yes, I am going to share, Apple considers bringing out its own foldable version. Every brand who've been competing with Apple and have released iPhone killer apps have gone ahead and released a premium version of their foldable phones. Apple has been staying away from it, but I, being an Apple fan, really look forward to Apple bringing its foldable version, which I'm sure is going to be a game changer. Knowing the design aesthetics and how minute details Apple puts forward to in its hinges or in anything which Apple does, it will be a game changer if Apple can introduce a foldable phone, which will really, what I may call Apple Fold or Apple Ultra, which will really take the entire industry by storm. And you would see a lot of switchers from the existing brands who already have foldable phones moving over to Apple. So that's my first request. My second request is a fast charging capability. Today, most of the phones which Apple has do not have a fast charging capability, and really makes tedious task and waiting enablement. You have to carry many other devices, whether you use a MagSafe charger or you roam around with additional bricks. And especially for somebody who's been traveling often, charging becomes a big problem. So having a fast charging capability in iPhones would really enable users all over the world to get their phone up and running when the battery is really low and the phone is really required to make some urgent and important calls or get some work done. The third piece, now with Fold, yes, this is the one big piece which is missing, is the stylus. Today, none of the iPhones have a stylus. Yes, there are other competing brands who have stylus. Now, you may wonder, what is it really a need for stylus? Apple earlier last year introduced a very interesting app called Freeform, which is really path-breaking. It is an amazing application which is available on your iPads, but it's also available on your phones. But the true capability and ability to really use Freeform on a phone is you don't have that same experience using Freeform on your phone as compared to your iPad, because Freeform really works well with the pencil, Apple Pencil. Having an Apple Pencil, a smaller one integrated with your phone, will really take your productivity to the next level. So Apple, if you're listening, I would highly recommend thinking about introducing an Apple Pencil for the phone. The other piece which is really annoying are these buttons on the side of a phone. On how can Apple seriously consider making, these buttons go away? When I say go away, really make it completely integrated with the bezel. And that, from an engineering and from a design, will really help users and make the entire operation and the entire bezel on the side really smooth and a very interesting experience. More importantly, from a design aesthetic and from a look, probably there should be a consideration on how touch can be enabled, which really enables the users to integrate and engage with the phone considerably in a very different way. And the last piece on the iPhones is, how do you make these iPhones lighter? Recently I have bought this iPhone 14 Pro Max. I can tell you it's tad heavy. It makes my trousers almost start slipping down from my waist, and I'm sure it happens to each one of us. And for me, I carry two phones. Carrying two bulky phones or heavy phones really is a menace. I'm seriously looking for smaller, lighter, foldable phones, and which allow me to move freely with my phones and not really feel that weight of the phone in my pockets. So here these are my wish lists specifically when it comes to an iPhone. Now, moving over, which is the second device, and as you can see, I have moved over from an Apple Watch, and these are the reasons why I really moved over from an Apple Watch to the Garmin Watch, for two main reasons. One is battery life. I have been biohacking, and I have seriously been considering wearing that watch in my sleep so that I can track my sleep effectively. Unfortunately, Apple Watch do not sustain more than a day. Yes, when you get it new, it will stay for 20, 26, 28, probably 30 hours. But as you start using it, the battery life really starts degrading. And I saw my Apple Watch battery life degrading in the less than 3 months. So I invariably had to charge my Apple Watch every night, which I couldn't wear to track my sleep. So improving the battery life on an Apple Watch will really make a big difference. Like this Garmin one, almost is 50 plus days, which is phenomenal. You don't have to worry about charging your watch. I'm an old school guy. I used to wear a lot of analog watches. We never charged our watches. So charging a watch every day is really a menace, rather than really having a tool or a technology which really helps you track your body data on a day-to-day basis. The second piece on the watch, probably to consider for an Apple, is how do they integrate solar charging? Today, solar charging is very much applicable in devices like watch. How do they enable that? Probably the Ultra version, which has been touted for the outdoor, more rugged, more tough, and enabling users to really use Ultra Watch, how they can bring in solar charging in the Ultra Watch. So these are my wish list to Apple. Hopefully, I don't know how many of them will come true in this year, but even if it is not this year, in the next 2 years, if Apple can seriously consider these feature lists from a hardware perspective. Yes, there is a lot of software upgrades which continue to happen, which are nice, but these hardware changes and hardware improvements will really take the Apple devices to the next level, especially the iPhone and the watch. Hope my message goes across to Apple, and if you like this video and you want Apple to take actions on some of them, please do share, like, comment, and share it with your larger friends and colleagues. And you never know, somebody in Apple may watch this video.